Hey everybody, welcome to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and this is a bonus video on Agatha All Along episode 5. Because I just finished watching The Break Room, and they brought up an interesting question here. And the question is, whose trial was this really? Now, going off of kind of lore and stuff like that, a blood moon means that it's close to death, or kind of the veil between death is thin. And Rio talks about how, well, Agatha has a big body count, lots of dead witches, so it's her trial. She throws it out there real quick that it's her trial. But was it really? Let's think about who else has a trial left at this point, assuming that each trial targets a specific member of the coven, a specific person walking down the road. We have 4 characters left who still need a trial, assuming that each one gets a trial. Now, we have the teen, and spoilers, probably Wiccan. So, if you're watching this, it's too late for spoilers already. So, we have Wiccan. And Wiccan, does he count? He wasn't there for the opening of the road. He just went down the road with them. He went to escape the Salem 7. So then, let's think about that. Does he need a trial of his own? And it's possible that this is his trial. Now, it might be called out that, well, he was the one who found the Ouija board. He's also the one who played the record. He's also the one who took the invitation off of the mantle. He is the one who kicks off every single trial. So I don't think it's his. I think he's kind of this catalyst for things moving forward and pushing Agatha further along. Then Lilia Calderu. Lilia Calderu, I don't know that this is her trial either. Obviously, you're speaking to spirits and stuff like that. She says that she doesn't speak to spirits. What she does is she divines the future and has those visions, like the readings and stuff like that. No, that's not something real. That's not what her power set is. So the Ouija board doesn't make sense for it to be hers as well. And the blood moon, obviously, every trial has something to do with different moons. So blood moon, if we go with the subscribed theory that it's because that veil between life and death is thin, probably, again, not Lilia. That gets us down to 2 final suspects for this trial. The first one is Rio. Rio is the one who's super quick to call out that this is Agatha's trial. However, some of the speculation has been, and based off of the lines that Aubrey Plaza as Rio keeps delivering, I think there's a very good argument to be made that Rio is playing death. And so, does that mean that she has a whole lot more bodies on her side? Now, it doesn't necessarily seem that she can kill anybody. She just comes to kind of collect them. That's been the implications thus far based off of episode 1. And then even here she would talk about how Agatha would drain them and she would collect the bodies. So does that body count for her? And does the body count even really matter? Obviously, the spirits that are reached out to, we have Evanora Harkness, Agatha's mother, and we have Nicholas Scratch, Agatha's son. But what if it's a situation where instead of it being about the fact that this is Agatha's family, it could be what Rio has kind of pushed Agatha towards. This give me more bodies, take their power. And what we see are these people, these spirits who blame Agatha, or in the case of Nicholas, seemingly are asking Agatha to let it go. That Nicholas Scratch is somewhere where Nicholas Scratch wants to be, or understands that that's controlling Agatha now. I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at it, but I'm not sure that we're going to find out that it was, in fact, Agatha's trial. Because there's not much actually in terms of this trial. And honestly, like, if you watch my reaction video, kind of initial impressions, that's my big issue with this episode, is the trial feels like it's lacking. It doesn't feel like a trial. And I wonder if that's because the focus is on the wrong person. When we look back to kind of understand what happens, and maybe as we see a future trial, we'll understand that this wasn't Agatha's trial. They maybe shortcutted this trial by focusing on Agatha and having to move through so quickly. Instead, this could have been Rio's trial. Could have been the Green Witch's trial. But you basically have a trump card over the damned when you have death there itself. So did they just kind of quickly gloss over it, pass through this, and there was just a little bit of a benefit that came out of it for death, for Rio, because Agatha got some powers back and killed off Alice. Now, I'm debating who I think it's more likely. I still think there's a very strong argument to be made that this is Agatha's trial. Because Agatha, it is her family. But at the same time, in a show called Agatha All Along, how do you have the title character have their trial in the middle of the show, not learn anything, and the episode ends with all the focus on the teen and the fact that he has manifested his powers, whether or not he had them before and has been hiding him, but he is showing off his powers and he's just buried everybody else, with the exception, not Alice, not Rio. Alice, already dead, left in the building. Interesting choice that they left her there, though I guess, compared to Mrs. Hart, they assumed that Mrs. Hart was still alive. Mrs. Hart maybe even was still alive up until the very last second. Well, let me know your thoughts on it. Whose trial was this? Was this the teens? Was it Lilia's? Was it Rio's? Was it Agatha's? Do you think there's one that makes more sense than the others? Let me know that down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this content, check out all the videos that we're putting out on Agatha All Along, as well as comic books, rumors, news, and Marvel trading cards. And if you enjoy this content and you kind of want to dive into some of it deeper, we have our podcast coming out on Tuesday. It comes out every Tuesday. You can find it here on YouTube by clicking on the channel, subscribing if you don't mind, and then the podcast tab. Or you can get it wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. We'll be talking about this and all the other kind of questions that we had coming out of episode 5 of Agatha All Along this upcoming week. But with that, we'll see you next time.